On this first night of autumn, the weather is just perfect. It is 72 degrees in Denver, Colorado, and more than 75,000 people will fill Invesco Field at Mile High for a battle between Denver and Oakland. And out onto the field right now come the Denver Broncos. Night football. Al Michael and Lisa Guerrero. Welcome to Denver. It's the 14th Monday night meeting between these two teams, and there have been a lot of classics. What will tonight bring? The Raiders come in with a record of 1-1. They were routed in the Super Bowl. They had a terrible preseason for what that's worth. Then they opened up the year with 17 penalties and a loss to Tennessee, and last Sunday escaped with a harrowing 3-point win over the Cincinnati Bengals. A big early season game for the Raiders tonight. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos began the year with 2 road wins at Cincinnati and San Diego with new quarterback Jake Plummer, who was operated his shoulder last week, but he'll get a home schedule tonight. And John, this team amazingly has only been to the playoffs once in 4 years. Are they ready to once again ascend to that elite level?
You know, I think the question is still Jake Plummer. It's kind of life after John Elway, and Mike Shanahan hasn't gotten that quarterback to really run the offense that he wants. And now, is it Jake Plummer? I think the jury's still out on him. He's an inaccurate passer. He does throw interceptions, but he's an exciting guy. And then, as you said, with the injury, last week he had the shoulder separation. He made all the throws in practice. I saw him. He looked good. But the question mark is, can he take a hit? What's going to happen after he gets hit tonight?
Now, what about the Raiders? Is this still a hangover from January 26th?
I think a big hangover. I don't think that they recovered. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl, and they got embarrassed in the Super Bowl. I think their whole offseason, they thought about that. They didn't have a good preseason. But having said that, I remember coming in here last year, and the Raiders they had lost 4 in a row, and Rich Gannon was down, and everyone was down, and this guy had one of the biggest nights I've ever seen by a quarterback.
At one point, he completed 21 in a row, and they went on to the Super Bowl. Turned their season around on November 11th. What about tonight? The Raiders and the Broncos on Monday Night Football. Lisa.
Thanks very much, Al. Last year, the Raiders had the #1 offense in the league. We haven't seen that kind of production on offense so far this year. I know you were very vocal about your disappointment with the offense this past week. What is the key to turning things around tonight, Jerry?
I think just playing loose football, and we worked hard this past week, and I think this team is ready. You know, we started off with a little adversity last year. We fought through it. We're going to do the same thing. It's Monday Night Football, so you better bring your best game.
Jerry, you mentioned it. This is your 42nd appearance on Monday Night Football. This is a huge game. You're 40 years old, but do you still get chills when you enter into a big game like this?
I am so excited. I love Monday Night Football, and, you know, it brings out my best. And I'm just going to go out here tonight and just try to play hard and try to help my team to win.
Jerry, good luck to you tonight. Thanks
so
for your time. Al, Jerry Rice is 28-13 on Monday Night Football. As a matter of fact, his very first appearance on Monday Night Football, 1985, right here in Denver.
Right here in success against the Raiders, but not last year when Oakland swept the series. So here we go with the flash balls popping, and in the Mile High, the kick is fielded by Rodney Jenkins, 2 yards into the end zone. Up past the 20, there's a flag down, and another one now at the 27-yard line as Willie Middlebrooks makes the tackle. Larry Nemmers is the referee, and the call will go against Oakland. So they'll be backed up, and on 1st and 10, let's take a look at the Raider offense.
Number 58.
Rich Gannon, Delaware.
Charlie Garner, the Untouchables, UT forever. Zach Crockett, Florida State.
Mississippi Valley State.
Tim Brown, University of Notre Dame.
Doug Jolly, Brigham Young. Barry Sims, Utah.
Frank Middleton, Beaumont, Texas.
Matt Stinchcomb, Georgia.
Mo Collins, University of Florida.
Lincoln Kennedy, Washington.
Garner's untouchable UT is the University of Tennessee. And they may need him to have a big night tonight to give themselves the best chance to win. As Gannon gets sacked on 1st down. Coming in around the corner was Bertrand Berry.
You know, that's one of the things the Raiders have had trouble with, and Rich Gannon has had trouble with. It happened to him in the Super Bowl. It happened to him in the Tennessee game. It happened last week in the Cincinnati game. Getting a big hit early. Here comes Bertrand Berry right across the corner. You can see him get up the field, and then he comes to the inside. He's right on Rich Gannon. That has happened in starts to take, like I said, the Super Bowl, and then the Tennessee, and then the Cincinnati. In this game, it's happened in their last 4 big games.
John, in last week's game, he was hit in the back and had back spasms from most of the first period, and the first pass that he throws is incomplete. Doug Jolly, the intended receiver. 3rd and 16. Let's take a look at the Bronco defense.
Trevor Price, Clemson.
Monsanto Pope, Virginia.
Darius Holland, Colorado. Bertrand Berry, Notre Dame.
John Mobley, Kutztown.
Al Wilson, Tennessee.
Ian Gold, Wolverines. Lenny Walls, Boston College.
Noah Kennedy, Arkansas.
Sam Brandon, UNLV.
Delta O'Neal, Cal.
Now Gannon on 3rd down and 16 from the 9-yard line. 4-man rush. They keep it on the ground, and here's Garner cutting it back, and he gets up only to the 15-yard line. So 4th and long. Wilson and O'Neal make the tackle, and so the Raiders begin the game with a penalty, take a sack, 3 and out.
Okay, the Broncos started their defensive end, Trevor Price, inside. And they have Reggie Hayward and Bertrand Berry at the defensive end. So that's a different look, you know, to try and get some strength inside. 1 for the pass rush on Gannon, and 2, the inside run.
Shane Leckler off to a great start this season, and this is a booming kick fielded by O'Neal from the 23. He brings it back out to the 40-yard line. And let's take a look at the Denver offense.
Jake Plummer, Arizona State.
Clint Portis, Miami.
Mike Anderson, Utah.
Rod Smith, Missouri Southern State College.
Ed McCaffrey, Stanford.
Shannon Sharp, the Savannah State.
Ephraim Salam, San Diego State University. Got Ben Hamilton, Minnesota. Tommy Nalen from Boston College. Danny Neal, Texas. Matt Lepsis, Colorado.
So they leave it to Salam. He's the spokesman because none of the other guys talk to the media or do things like that. So Salam even put the Boston accent in there for Boston College. From 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line, and they start with an end around. Ashley Lilly up past the 45 to the 48. And like Mike Shanahan in the past, he likes to start with an unusual play from the back of the playbook as we take a look at the Raider defense right now. And they have inactivated Dana Stubblefield. So it's Brayton, the rookie from Colorado, Perella, Rod Coleman, and DeLawrence Grant, with Coleman starting for Stubblefield. Barton, Harris had a great rookie year, and Romanowski, of course, the former Bronco. And then in the secondary, it's Buchanan and Charlton outside, and Rod Woodson and Derek Gibson as the safeties. Rod Woodson was questionable coming into tonight's game, worked out before the game, and is starting. Had arthroscopic knee surgery a couple of weeks ago. And here is Clinton Portis, the bright young star, had a fabulous rookie year and off to a great year this year.
Yeah, we can talk about Jake Plummer and how important he is to this offense, but this is the guy that makes it go. Clinton Portis is something special, and you're going to see him here, and he can take that thing and make 3 or 4 on every play. He takes it inside, then when he gets to the second level, he makes his next cut. This guy is an amazing running back, and there's an amazing woman, his mother.
Took her to his high school prom, 13-yard gain. He's off to a tremendous start this year in 1.5 games because he had a bruised sternum last week and missed the second half, and showing no ill effects whatsoever. Takes it to the 32 for a gain of 7.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Bill Callahan took the team to the Super Bowl last year in his first year as a head coach anywhere. 2nd down and 4. From the 33-yard line. Portis. And he stopped at the 31-yard line. And for Jake Plummer, we saw him in preseason, but in Plummer's
perfect place for him, that if he can't do it here, he's not going to do it anywhere.
3rd down and 3 now from the 32-yard line. Keep it on the ground, and there's Portis. Came into the game averaging 6.9 yards a carry, which is fabulous. Tackled by Woodson, and he starts tonight's game averaging 8 yards a carry. 4 carries, 32 yards already.
Well, you know, he's so special because he feels he makes those cuts.
At the 20 on 1st and 10. Again, it's Portis trying to spin his way past Barton, but can't. Eric Barton, the 5th-year outside linebacker from Maryland.
Remember Remember last week, Clinton Portis got hit in the sternum at the end.
Shanahan saying it was a concussion when it was really a first-degree separated shoulder, which is a bad sprain in effect. Rolling left, throwing, floating one into the arms of Shannon Sharpe, who tries to get to the end zone and does. Touchdown. yards, Plummer to Sharpe.
But it's still all set up by Clinton Portis. They run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Then they're going to bootleg. Clinton Portis starts here. We're seeing it. Jake Plummer fakes. Everyone goes to the inside. The Raiders are coming on a blitz, and Shannon Sharpe is wide open. But again, it starts by Clinton Portis. They say we have to stop him. All they're doing is running. All they're doing is running. Fake the run, bootleg, Shannon Sharpe.
Jason Elam tacks on the extra point. So a perfect start for the Broncos. The Raiders go 3 and out. The Broncos march down the field. Plummer throws just one pass on that drive. That was it. Plummer to Sharpe after Portis sets it up. 7-0 Denver.
No, with just the ones you mentioned, and then you look at the other side with Jerry Brown. I mean Jerry Brown, Jerry Rice, Tim Brown. I mean, there's just so many great players in this series.
One guy the Raiders are missing, though, is Jerry Porter, the emerging star wide receiver, out after abdominal surgery in probably another month or more. Ronnie Jenkins, 2 yards into the end zone, out past the 20, runs into his own man, and then gets taken down at the 28. So the Raiders begin their second drive from that spot with 9:22 left in the opening period. In Denver, Broncos 7, Raiders nothing. Got Bill Romanowski's neck on the Raiders sideline as the offense comes back out here, led by Rich Gannon from the 28-yard line. Garner is the running back. Charlie Garner taken down right away by Ian Gold. Rich Gannon, 16th year, the only player in the league who went to Delaware. And here it was last year, 34 of 38, dinking and dunking and then going long when he had to against Ray Rhodes' defense. Ray is now in Seattle as the defensive coordinator. And there it was last year, the pass chart for Gannon.
He was 22 out of 6, 5 yards and under, 8 for 8 between 5 and 15, and 4 for 4 over 15 yards.
Now he throws off his back foot. A flag is thrown by the umpire. So guess what? It's as automatic as a Jason Elam extra point when the umpire throws an offensive holding.
And it's darn near as automatic as the start of Raider games. If you look at anything that has really stopped this offense over the years, it's been penalties. You know, I mean, here it's a holding in Tennessee, a bunch of false starts, 17 penalties.
Holding offense number 74. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Of the season. Second down and 20. The ball is at the 18-yard line after the penalty, and it's a short gain for Charlie Garner through the middle. And Bill Callahan, John, was telling us last night, the bugaboo for us has been third down, and there's no wonder when they're always in third and long.
And then what causes a third and long is penalties and the combination of either incomplete passes or getting sacked or trying to run the ball any yards. And I think, you mentioned earlier how Jerry Porter not being here has really hurt him. If you look at this Raider offense, other than Charlie Garner, they don't have any speed. And that's what it is. Then with no speed, then they don't threaten you deep, and then they can just, play everything tight.
No speed and old age is a bad combination. Garner taken down by Ian Gold. So the Broncos come out on fire tonight, and the Raiders will kick again.
Hey, when you talk about speed, Ian Gold is guys. This Denver Bronco defense is built on the speed of the linebackers. They don't have a great front four, and their corners are still suspect, but their linebackers can move and get all over the field, and when they get there, make tackles.
Leckler, whose first punt was 63 and averaged 54 last week against Cincinnati, and kicking at 5,280 feet. And another monster, but a flag is thrown as O'Neal backs up at the 20. And the Cal Bear brings it back out to the 32-yard line.
And they came out in the pregame warm-up with blue jerseys and white pants. I don't know what the heck that does. I don't get fined for that one, but he didn't get fined for the fib that he told about Jake Plummer's injury.
Right, lying is okay, but when you do something to the fashion police, they will nab you. O'Neal brings this one back to the 45-yard line. 7:05 remaining in the opening period, which has been over. Here comes Plummer. And the Broncos up 7-0. That's a list.
And the only thing that Clinton Portis doesn't do well is catch the ball, and they're trying to work on that more this year.
2nd and 10. That pass is a little high, intended for Sharp, who was covered by the strong safety Derek Gibson. Will be 3rd down and 10.
And I think Jake Plummer just took his first shot there, and that was going to be the question mark. We know that he has a separated right shoulder. They say it's a 1
as the number 3. 3rd down and 10. And Plummer throws over the middle, and wide open is Ed McCaffrey. And his first catch of the night on 3rd and long is good for a first down, 14 yards. And with Portis out, they give the ball to Mike Anderson, and he's tackled on the play by Eric Barton, who spelled him last week, is in the game. And they give the ball to Smith, and that is read perfectly by Trace Armstrong. And he was the one guy who was going to be between a loss in the backfield or maybe a 25-yard gain.
Yeah, anytime the ball goes away, the end man on the line of scrimmage away from it has to keep containment. And when you've played in the league for 15 years, you're going to do that. When they start one way, you're going to stay on the backside. You see Trace Armstrong there? They started to go away. He smelt that thing, he saw that thing, and he tackled that thing.
Armstrong, that game against the Broncos in December last year in Oakland, a big day for him. So again, it's 3rd and long, this time 3rd and 13. Plummer out of the gun, stepping up. Throws wide open is Ashley Lally for the touchdown. 44 yards. 2 3rd and long conversions, and Lally, who is an emerging star in the minds of everybody around the Broncos, shows you why they think he is.
Well, he's the switch by the Raiders.
Elam tacks on the 14th point. Perfect beginning for the Denver Broncos as they try to keep their record perfect. 4:14 left in the period. Plummer with 2 TD passes. 14-0.
Derek Gibson, he was a deep guy, and he jumped Rod Smith on the short pattern. He let Lally get behind him.
Ryan takes a knee in the end zone, and the Raiders will try to get on track from the 20. Ashley Lally out of the central time. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. The Raiders with Charlie Garner, and he stopped for no gain. And to this point in the game, the Broncos have gained 115 yards. The Raiders 1 yard.
You want to see what happened on that touchdown? We're going to see Derek Gibson is here now. He has deep, and he has this thing. And when they come on and in, Rod Smith, he jumps it here, and he lets Ashley Lally get. You see as they come here, he has deep. Now right there, you see him jump that. Here's Lally, and he's going to run right by. And if you have deep half, you have to stay as deep as the deepest.
2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. This time good protection, but good coverage by the secondary, and he just has to fling it into the Raider bench. You know, John, speaking of Plummer, back to Plummer for a second. In 6 years with the Cardinals, he never threw 2 touchdown passes in the first quarter, and now he did it last week, and he's done it tonight.
Yeah, and again, I think it's this team. I think it's this system. I think it's this coaching staff. And in that first one, he had a heck of a lot of help from Clinton Portis.
There is Jake, 4 of 5 for 76 yards. 3rd down and 10 now for the Raiders from the 20, trying to avert a 3rd consecutive 3 and out, and they can't. So they've had the ball for 9 plays, no first downs. Leckler comes into punt for the 3rd time. Smith is back to receive the kick, and this is a shorter Leckler boot, fielded at the 36. And Smith, the elite receiver, takes it back to the 50-yard line. So again, the Broncos are set up in very good field position. From midfield on first down, Plummer stumbles but gets up, and the snake shows you why the nickname, and throws, and it's juggled and caught, and it's a 1-yard loss. All of that for a 2nd and 11. Mike Anderson was the receiver.
Yeah, and that's a great, accurate guy, and he will let some fly on you once in a while,
as he did on opening day when he had 3 picks, but they still had more than enough for Cincinnati. And that's flung over the middle and caught on the run by Lee. Inside the 10 and out of bounds, where it'll be first down and goal. What separated shoulder? Boy, did that have zip on it.
Now they rush on him. Yeah, we talk about
the play clock goes all the way down and goes down so far they'll take a penalty here and make it first and goal from the 12.
Everything he does.
From the 12 on first and goal. Portis. He gets the penalty yardage back. It's 2nd down and goal now.
Play.
He has been tremendously successful throughout his career in building early leads. Down and goal. Bootleg. Plummer for the end zone. So he's thrown for 2 and run for 1. Whoa, baby, this looks like San Diego right now.
And I'll tell you another thing about Mike Shanahan. When he gets you down, he's going to put his foot on it. You bootleg, and Plummer's wide open coming around the left side.
The game is 14 minutes, 6 seconds old. The Broncos have outgained the Raiders 170 yards to 1. Young coaches, their first opportunity, including, of course, the man standing next to me.
Right, and he did when I was a linebacker coach and only been in the league for 2 years, and I will forever appreciate that.
Ronnie Jenkins feels this one 7 yards deep. However, the Broncos may have been offside because there's a flag down back at the 30-yard line.
Comes in and out. I heard that next year he's going to come back full time.
Kickoff now from the 25-yard line, fielded by Jenkins. And he gets buried by Nick Ferguson, reserve defensive back. Before, he was one of the big stories that day when he was inactivated for the game, and Adam True was the center. And now it's 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line as Gannon flings it to the outside for Rice, and that's incomplete. The cover, Lenny Walls, who's the tallest cornerback in the league at 6'4" and change.
And on that one, Rich Gannon couldn't get everything on that one because he had a rusher right at his feet. I mean, that's the thing where you can't stand up, and you can't step into that. And Rich Gannon on this last one wasn't able to step on it. You see, here's Dorsett Davis, number 96. He gets the push right there. He takes Lincoln Kennedy right back into Rich Gannon.
Gannon on 10 throws, and that'll be a 6-yard gain as they hit Zach Crockett. They had Crockett and Wheatley in the backfield on that set.
Because the Raiders don't threaten you deep anymore, or make the linebackers take deeper drops.
The Raiders have been playing football since 1960. This is only the 3rd time in the history of the franchise they have trailed by 21 points. End of 1. Perfect opening salvo for Denver as Monday Night Football resumes after this from our ABC stations. Denver, Madden, and Lisa Guerrero, a perfect opening period for Mike Shanahan's club. And now the Raiders, still seeking their initial first down, begin the 2nd period with a 3rd down and 4 from the 36. And Gannon flings it, and it's caught by Jerry Rice. And Rice gets into Denver territory to the 46-yard line. So that's the best thing that's happened to the Raiders in 15-plus minutes, 18 yards.
And that's their first down. It was an interesting formation. It was an open backfield. They had 5 receivers. And you're going to see Jerry Rice just come across the zone here, and he got in that gap, and Rich Gannon hit him in that gap. And they're in the same offensive formation right now. 5 receivers, no running back.
First down is Gannon checking, and then flings deep and incomplete, and they had everybody covered. including Jerry Rice, who on that catch, he's caught passes in 260 consecutive games. That's more games than any other receiver in history has even played.
Yeah, and you look at Jerry Rice and you remember when he came in and how hard he works. I think that's the thing. You know, like Mike Shanahan was talking about him when he coached Jerry Rice, the thing that impressed him, not only how great a player he was, but he works harder than any other player, and that's why he's better than any other player.
2nd down and 10. From the 46, Gannon avoids the sack by Wilson and then throws it out of bounds. 3rd.
Holding offense, number 74, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Is the sole setback on 2nd down and 20. Ian Gold showing blitz. He backs off, but they come from the other side, and then Gannon throws, and the pass is caught at the 39. Beautiful catch by Doug Jolly, who gets blasted by Sam Brandon, but he's able to pick up 17 and sets up 3rd and short.
That's the type of thing that they have to get. They get Jolly down now behind those linebackers. You see earlier they were running everything to or in front of the linebackers. Linebackers are playing so shallow. Now you have to get down to that next level, that level between the linebackers and the secondary.
3rd and 3, and that's unusual. The second time this season the Raiders have had 3rd and 3 or less.
And then what happens?
Yeah, then if that's a false start, it's 3rd and 8.
Mo Collins.
Number 79, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's crazy. They can't. They out of a tight formation for 3rd and long. Send Wheatley out of the backfield as they loosen it up. 4-man rush. Gannon slips to his left, going too deep for Tim Brown. Delta O'Neal and Brandon back on the coverage. 4th down.
But I think they finally realize that they have to stretch this defense. If you just look at the defense so far, the Denver Broncos, they look way too fast for the Oakland Raider offense. And then they were doing all that short stuff, and they were just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. At least now they're throwing something to try and stretch the defense a little and loosen.
The last punt, and that's a one-hopper. O'Neal is being worked on the sideline. He is back. Lands inside the 5, and it is Alvis Whitted who gets down there and is able to save it from going into the end zone. Back, and then Nemers said, yes, it is, at the 20-yard line, just barely. Jake Plummer. We trust in Jake, said the Bronco organization. He threw 2 passes in the first quarter last week. The opener against Oakland, the opening quarter, 2 through the air and 1 by himself on the ground. From the 20. Portis turns to cut it back, slips out of the grasp of Travian Smith and turns no gain into a short gain.
This guy is something we were talking about, you know, the moves that he has, and just on this play, it's kind of Barry Sanders type run. Remember how Barry Sanders would have a run and would only go 2 or 3 yards, and you'd say, geez, what a great run, a great 2 or 3 yard run. That's what that was with Clinton Portis. So he had a move, he had another move, he went down, his hand went down, he had a spin, and his brother said, I remember when he used to do that when he was in grammar school.
2nd and 6. And a timeout taken here by Denver.
That's their first team timeout.
And 6 now at the 24-yard line for the Denver Broncos. Play fake, buys time, hits McCaffrey, and rolls his way across the 30 for a 1st down. Travian Smith with the stop.
You know, the old thing for the touchdown.
3 minutes into the period. Pitch back to Portis, flag. Tackled by Travian Smith.
The thing that Jake Plummer brings you, Al, I think, is you know what Clinton Portis, what a threat he is running the ball, but Jake Plummer becomes a pretty big threat. If you want to go with Clinton one way, Jake Plummer can run the other way.
Holding, number 97. That's a 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
John Perella.
You have to throw it. He said, and you force some things. He said, when you're ahead, you don't have to make every throw, and you never have to force.
1st and 10. Checks off, and then McCaffrey goes down, and that's incomplete.
Just a bad Super Bowl, and then really hasn't recovered from that.
2nd down and 10 from the 36. Look out. Dumps it off. And it's incomplete. There's no flag for grounding because there was a receiver in the neighborhood. That neighborhood being Greeley.
You know, the Raiders have
3rd down and 10. Anderson comes in on 3rd down out of the shotgun. The Broncos have not trailed for a second this season. So Plummer with a 21-point lead, buying time, rolling, looking, throwing down the sideline, and then throwing it away.
has helped the Raiders.
Philip Buchanan, who was their #1 draft pick last year, the cornerback from Miami. Short end over end kick. Buchanan takes it from the 29 out to the 35, and the Raiders will try to regroup there. 4 minutes into the second quarter. Charlie Garner is back, and Barry Sims, who was flagged 3 times early in the game at Tennessee on opening day, moving here. This would be their second penalty.
Are right next to the center, and of course the center has the ball.
The Raiders have gained 42 yards and have been penalized 50 yards from the 30-yard line. Gannon underneath to Rice with room to roam. And Jerry gets up near a first down before he's forced out of bounds by Kelly Herndon. He's a little shy, a yard shy.
Yeah, we looked at the first 15 plays and the scripting that Mike Shanahan had for Denver. And if you look at the same thing for the Raiders, you see that they 4 times, but they only got 9 yards. They passed 11 times. They were 4 for 10. They had a sack in there, and they didn't score any points.
John, in television terms, Shanahan goes to syndication for 20 years. And Callahan's script gets canceled after the first week. 2nd and 1 from the 44. Wheatley and Crockett in the backfield. Tyrone Wheatley, former Giant, New York Giant, out to the 50-yard line, gain of 6, and it's first down.
You see who they behind Langston Walker. It was funny. He kind of looked like he was in motion. Langston Walker is a backup tackle, and he comes in as a tight end in short yardage situations, but he started on the left side, and then he comes in motion. Now, you never see a big old 66 go in motion. Watch, here he is here. Then he gets over here, gets lined up, and then they're going to run right in behind him. If you have a big guy like that in it, that's what you use him for. And if you're going to use him for that, you may as well go to him.
Big guy running behind a big guy, and they flip it. And it's all the Raiders can do with Charlie Garner covering it up at the 38-yard line.
You know, if there's anything that you don't need, and again, when you try a gadget play or a trick play and it doesn't work, it always looks stupid. But I don't know. I mean, the Raiders were just kind of getting going, and they get this. They bring the ball to Curry, and he's going to try and run an option to Charlie Garner, you know, and he flips a bad option. And you think, where the heck did that play come? And then when you get the answer to where it came from, you say, why?
Why? And get rid of it. It looked like a special teams play. That's a run-back play. 2nd and 22. Gannon under pressure, avoids the sack, and then throws incomplete. The Broncos want a grounding call. Trevor Pryor, 3rd and 22. They have to get to the Denver 40. And the Broncos with a 3-man line.
Look at how deep the linebackers are now.
Rushing, 8 covering. And Gannon will take off. And there's no room to roam there because Bertrand Berry is right there. Otherwise, Gannon would have had about 25 yards, but Berry says, forget about it.
You know, and the biggest thing about
Bertrand Berry, meanwhile, a guy who doesn't get a lot of publicity, already has 4 sacks. And Leckler bangs this one. Oh, just barely over the goal line. Almost a perfect kick, but into the end zone. 63 yards, 43 net. Broncos get it again, 8:42 to the half, 21-0. 8 o'clock tomorrow. 8 Simple Rules, the final John Ritter episodes. Tomorrow night, special introduction by Katie Segal. That's tomorrow night, right here on ABC. Entertainment world, and a lot of the rest of the world still reeling over the death of John Ritter. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line as Plummer looks downfield, thrown against the grain, and incomplete. Everybody covered. You could make a case for that being the greatest play in college football history, as Portis gets taken down. And John, I know that's going to create a lot of argument, but if you think about it, Plummer goes in. That's why they call him the Snake. A marvelous play. It gives them the lead. They win the Rose Bowl. They would have finished undefeated, and they would have won the national championship. Drive, and Joe Germain took him down, and the Buckeyes won it.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it something how, you know, the ball goes one way and something happens? You know, I'm not even going to bring up the Pittsburgh Steelers thing where we do that and we have the game won, and then they come back and do that to us in the immaculate reception.
Ifs and buts, candies and nuts and all that stuff, and Travian Smith breaks up the play. Flag.
But Jake Plummer, I remember when, you know, he was coming out of college.
Defense, offside, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
You know, and
2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And it's 3rd down and 6 now. After another penalty against the Raiders, that's their 8th. And Jake on the mark, and Rod Smith, if they give him forward progress, does have the 1st down. And a lot of frustration, and another flag here as Smith got into the middle of it.
Now, this is one of those point penalties. You know, it always happens. You have that kind of fracas there, and then they both point to the other guy. You know, it was him. No, it wasn't. It was him. I didn't do it.
Chris Cooper and Smith with pushy shovey.
And then the coaches get in, they're pointing. Look at this, the umpire, he's going to break it up, and he got punched with a right hand. Whoa. I mean, that was a real right hand. That's Rod Smith. Watch number 8. I mean, he's going to punch the Raider, and he punches the umpire right in the face.
Personal foul against Denver.
They're going to have to throw Rod Smith out of the game if they call that for punching the umpire.
And then another flag just came down after the call was made, so there's some jawing going on down there.
Couple fouls.
After the play was over, we have 2 dead ball fouls. We had a personal foul on number 80 of the, and we had unsportsmanlike conduct on number 50 of the defense for taking his helmet off. Those 2 penalties were offset at the dead ball spot. The result of the play was a 1st down.
So the Raiders get an initial break, and then Barton takes his helmet off. And Smith, fortunate in a sense not to get thrown out of the game, but clearly, I mean, it was he didn't mean to punch the and whoa, they are going to.
The referee.
Forget about inadvertent, hit him or not, Smith is gone.
Yeah, that's right. Eric Barton takes his helmet off, and they get 15.
So we're back to 1st and 10 now. And then Anderson loses the ball, but covers up. And we'll get about a 2.5-yard gain on the play.
And when you see the strong safety up like that, you know, we always talk about 8 men in the box, bringing the strong safety down. When Derek Gibson is up and making a play in the backfield, play and run, they are playing 8 men up on 1st down.
2nd and 8. So Smith out of the game, which means more time since he, along with Lee and McCaffrey, were rotating. So Lee and McCaffrey will now see more action. Of course, you have Sharp as the tight end, and you can throw to the backs as well. 2nd down and 8. Plummer setting up the screen. Caught here by Reuben Drones, who scored a touchdown, the 1st touchdown of the game against San Diego, ex-Lion.
Like I said earlier, he couldn't even stand up for 45 minutes.
1st and 10. They give it to Anderson, and let's go back and take a look at 1,000-yard season a couple of years ago. 2nd down and 7 from the 45. Jake taken off. Looks like the Rose Bowl. Inside the 20, out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
They're starting to love Jake Plummer here now, Al. They weren't sure about it before, but they know now.
It's Valentine's Day.
Right, they with him, Jake Plummer coming out the other way. This could be a very, very dangerous offense.
That's a 40-yard run. That's the longest of his career. Timeout, Denver. 4-2,
and that's run.
So after that 40-yard run and the timeout, Plummer to the air, guns it, first down. Eddie McCaffrey gets hit by Gibson. First and goal at the 4. Drones are the running backs. Anderson, the fullback. Drones in motion. First and goal from the 4. Mike Anderson gets necktied by Roderick Coleman in the middle. Second and goal.
One of the things we haven't mentioned is that Dana Stubblefield isn't in there, and that's why Coleman is in there, and that's one of the things that the Raiders are kind of missing in that inside run game. But having said that,
Eye of the beholder. Second and goal. 10th play of the drive. Anderson takes it down inside the 2. For a touchdown pass, there he is.
He's in there now.
Yep.
Timeout, Oakland.
With knowing where he is, but runs with great speed.
Anderson is the tailback. Fake. Here goes Plummer looking to run, but instead he's going to have to throw it away. Trace Armstrong putting the pressure on and breaking the play up.
And that's the second time that Trace Armstrong did that. They tried to reverse on him, and he was out there. Now they tried to bootleg. Remember the other successful boot.
20-yard attempt. Micah Moore does the holding. And it's 24-0 Denver. 11th year, drafted him 3rd in '93. Career-long Bronco. Played his college football at the University of Hawaii, and that one is about 8 yards deep in the end zone. Or 7, about 14 days.
I mean, if that's all you have is your ankles off, you've had a pretty good career.
From the 20. Gannon throws, and that's caught along the sideline by the tight end Jolly, and he picks up a first down.
We were talking to Rich Gannon last night. He was saying the Super Bowl, at halftime, he said, just before halftime, he looked up and he said he knew the score was bad. He said, but the thing that bothered him was that he only had 3 first downs.
There it is.
Right? And then you look tonight, the first half, they've only had 3 first downs.
Gannon slings it. That's caught by Jolly again up to the 40. So we've come to the 2-minute warning, and the Raiders trying to get anything on the board. All Denver in Denver. Thunder's exhausted. 24-0. At the 2-minute warning, ball at the 41. And Jolly gets taken down by Delta O'Neal.
Larry Coyer is the defensive coordinator of this team and the Denver Broncos, and he was saying that last year when the Raiders came in here, they just embarrassed them. He said, because we didn't compete. He said, I'll guarantee you. He said, I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but I'll tell you, we're going to compete.
3rd and a short 3. Under pressure, down he goes. A rolling sack by Reggie Hayward.
Well, now they have them when they want them, and they can do anything that they want. And we see them blitzing. It impresses me again with this Denver Bronco defense is their speed tonight.
4th and 12 as Leckler punts. O'Neal fields at the 14. Brings it back to the 30. Gannon is unbelievably honest and frank. Lisa Guerrero sat down with him last night. Listen to what Rich had to say.
I'm over it. I mean, it's something that you have to live with the rest of your life. Anytime you look at the highlights from that particular Super Bowl, but it's, as I said a long time ago, it could define me professionally, but it'll never define me personally and who I am, and that's really how I look at that whole game.
Lisa asked him about the Super Bowl. I think he's being too hard on himself. I don't think that will define him.
No, it won't. But you know, it's something that he's lived with because he's such a competitor, and he's so serious about everything he does and hard work, and that it's hard just to get something like that out of your system.
Quarterback draw. 3-yard gain to the 34. Take a look at this. The greatest comebacks of Monday Night Football. Raiders did it against the Chargers. They were down 24 points in 82. The Raiders against the Broncos. You know what the interesting thing is about this game? Shanahan was coaching the Raiders and came from behind, and they won in overtime. Jets Dolphins in that classic game in 2000, and then Raiders against the Saints. So the Raiders have been involved in 3 of the 4 biggest comebacks in Monday Night history. And for Mike Shanahan, this is like eating a 5-course gourmet meal against his old team. And he's only on course number 2.5. Halftime. 24-0. Back after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
Even his days in Oakland, he's on probation.
Yeah.
So he got a double dip against him.
Seabass, as they call him. He wound up in the tank on Saturday. Kicks it 4 yards into the end zone. And Chris Cole downs it there. Numbers will be unbalanced through the first half when they pop up right here. Listing to the right.
You know, and if you look at those rushing yards for the Broncos, Clinton Portis was such a big part of it. But look at the first half and say who gained the most yards rushing? It was Jake Plummer.
Yeah. Jake, 349, including a 40-yard touchdown run. And Mike Anderson starts in the backfield here. So Portis doesn't get the call as we start the third quarter from the 20-yard line. Jake to the air. Jake throwing on the run. Ashley Lally, who got position on Charles Woodson and picks up a first down.
Yeah, and that's what speed does. And Jake Plummer has really thrown the ball right, left, middle. If you look at his pass chart here, look, he was 2-2 to the left, 2-3 in the middle, 0 for 1 under 5 yards. And then he threw the middle, 2 for 3 to the left, 2 for 2 in the middle, 0 for 2 to the right, and then over 5 yards, 1 for 2 to the right. That he's done it. He's thrown the short pass, he's thrown the medium pass, and he's thrown the deep pass.
From the 39-yard line, Mike Anderson chugs for 4. Tackled by Coleman.
And you think he throws so well outside the pocket, but he also throws pretty well inside the pocket. And if you look at between the hash marks, he's 9 for 12 for 112 yards. Inside the hash marks, or running to the outside, he's 2 for 5, but 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, that's with that bootleg that he's so effective on.
2nd and 7. Opening drive of the second half. Lally on the end around. Cannot turn the corner, and that's Rod Woodson who comes up to make the tackle and then has to remove his helmet, check his lip and teeth. Woodson had arthroscopic knee surgery within the past 2 weeks, 13 days ago to be precise. And there is the man named to the 75th anniversary All-NFL team a number of years ago. And he's continued on. And of course, he had to play last year here. That was a season-turning play. And look at that, 17-1 in his years with Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and the Raiders on. But that's at the moment likely to go to 17-2. 24-0 Denver as Plummer throws out in the flat. McCaffrey gets open, and he gets rolled down by Romanowski, and that's a first down. And let's check in with Lisa.
Al, when I asked Bill Callahan at halftime, how in the world do you try to start to get back into this game? He says we've got to completely regroup. We've got to stop making penalties. We've got to stop jumping off sides. He said, look, the penalties are killing us, and we've got to keep our composure. Meanwhile, the Broncos' Clinton Portis be questionable for the second half. Of course, he left the game in the second quarter with chest pains. Al?
With a bruised chest last week, and in San Diego, and then the residual effect here. And if you have to miss Portis, this is a pretty good time to do it with a score 24-0, and a guy like this able to spell him. Mike Anderson looking like Portis, looking like Terrell Davis. And he's out of bounds just shy of the goal line. Rod Woodson saved the touchdown at the moment.
You know, and this is the old Denver Bronco type run. And for years before Clinton Portis, it was you line up here, you make one cut, and then you run downhill. And that's Mike Anderson. And what a plus he is. Mike Anderson, when he was a tailback, was gaining over 1,000 yards. Then they get Portis, and then they put Mike Anderson as a fullback, but he's also the backup tailback.
And there's Portis watching his backup.
Go, go, go.
And Denver takes a timeout, something they've done 3 times now following a long play, having a tough time getting the play in, or Plummer reading Shanahan. That's the 3rd time now Denver has used a timeout after a long game.
And it's that
by Anderson. Reggie Jackson, Willie McCovey, Henry Aaron would all be proud. Carlisle is eligible. And Anderson, does he get in? Yes, he does. So he did all the dirty work to get him down there. And he gets the reward. The mile-high salute by the ex-Marine. And it's 30 going on 31-0.
Yeah, and this is one of the things the Broncos do so well. That offensive line does so many things. Look, Tom nailing the center. Usually a guard pulls or tackle pulls, but he just slips that nose tackle and he gets up to the second level. Big thing about this offensive line, getting to the second level.
High snap, good hold by Mike Honore to get it down, and then Elam bangs it through with 12-11 left in the 3rd, and there's a marker down.
Leon, your reactions following today's devastating loss?
Football's a team sport, man. So I got to put the loss squarely on the shoulders of my supporting cast. Look, man, I've been carrying these guys the whole season, but I can't do it all. I need some help.
So your 4 fumbles weren't a factor in your mind?
Not if one of those other guys would have jumped on the ball. Again, Leon can't do everything.
There's no I in team.
Yeah, well, ain't no we either.
Serve his country, does that.
Yep.
4 years in the Marines. Anderson. He played his college ball at Utah State. And because of the penalty on the Raiders, they're 9th for 70 yards now. Elam almost, or Mike Honore almost puts it into the seats.
We saw Jake Plummer's pass chart. Here's Rich Gannon's. Here's under 5. You see what he did here. 5 and 15 is here, and over 15 yards throwing the ball is there. And they just haven't gotten anything going. I mean, they're too slow, or the Bronco defense is too fast. But the speed of this Bronco defense has just eaten up this Raider offense.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Wheatley tripped up. Line of scrimmage. That's Monsanto Pope breaking play. Darrell Gardner was picked up in the offseason, the former Dolphin and Redskin, but he's not ready to play, and Monsanto Pope is the guy filling in for him. There is Darrell Gardner. Broke his hand in a fight and is yet to wear the orange and blue, or blue and orange, I suppose.
Well, he practiced all week, and he thought he was going to play tonight, and Mike Shanahan said, he thinks he can play. I just want to keep him out one more week.
2nd and 10. And that's a little too tall for Alvis Whitted.
You know, one of the things that Rich Gannon was saying last night, and I can see it, that they lose Jerry Porter. So Jerry Porter was their 3rd wide receiver and their speed. So then to replace him, it's not just putting another guy in who's like Jerry Porter and can do those things, but it's a combination of 3 guys. And he said you never know exactly where they're going to be. It just throws all your timing and everything off.
3rd down and 10. And that's caught by Rice. And Jerry's able to pick up the 1st down. as he's tackled there by Sam Brandon.
He's gonna do this. The thing that Jerry Rice does is watch him. He's on Deltha O'Neal there, and then he's going to run the inside. Watch him right there at the end. He just steps back in and he works back to the ball. Most receivers, as they come in, they'll gain ground or stay equal. He just came in and then came back to the quarterback.
And Denver takes another timeout. Their second. Not like they're going to need him anyway. 31-0 Broncos on the field. And now the Raiders in their own 37-yard line, and they go to Wheatley on the ground. And John, I was thinking, you were saying about Jerry Porter and what that means. And among other things, I mean, Brown and Rice, as great as they are, I mean, they're a year older, and they, you know, if Porter's there to take a lot of the pressure off them, I think that makes them more effective.
It is, because that gives, you know, the speed guy, and then they could, you know, have the speed guy going and have those two guys coming underneath. I think that maybe they have slowed down a little, and the defenses have learned that. And if you just watch them, everyone is attacking them and pressing them and playing them tight. Like right now, they're not giving them room to make moves on it.
1st and 10 at the 48. Brown, in fact, that's Tim in motion, has been shut out tonight. And Justin Fargas with his first carry, the rookie out of USC, began his college career in Michigan, tackled by Pope. And the star track for the Raiders is more like a lost universe tonight. Gannon 9 of 17. Garner just 4 carries for 9 yards. And Jerry Rice, I mean, the numbers don't look too bad, but I mean, none of them have been a factor in the game.
Right, and how about Tim Brown? Tim Brown hasn't caught a pass.
He's been blank. Heisman Trophy winner back in '87. Here's Fargas, who had a long run last week, 53-yarder against Cincinnati, and got away with it because he fumbled on the play and they didn't call it. Tim Brown, we talked about Rice's streak before. Tim's streak at 158. Jerry, of course, is out of sight at 260.
And Tim Brown last week against the Bengals only caught 1 pass. So if you say who's the forgotten man or the lost man or whatever in this Raider offense, it's Tim Brown.
3rd and 4. Gold hits Gannon as he throws, but he gets it away, and that's caught by Ronald Curry. And the Raiders mount a drive for the first time in the game. Kelly Herndon with the tackle.
We're talking about guys that have to take Jerry Porter's place. That's one of them, Ronald Curry. You see he lines up in a slot. He's the inside guy, and he's going to come across. He's going to start up here and then come across right here and just come across and then get in front again. They're working now. They're starting to get behind those linebackers, get behind the linebackers in front of the secondary, and if it's man-to-man, you run away from it on a cross.
1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. Wheatley to the outside. He gets by Price, but then Price has a lot of other friends in the neighborhood, and out of bounds goes Wheatley for a loss.
Well, they stuffed his guard. Frank Middleton.
2nd and 13. Approaching the halfway mark of the 3rd quarter. Gannon to Rice, stops shy of the 1st down. That'll set up a 3rd and 1. Sam Brandon pushed him back. Mark Trestman on the right, the offensive coordinator.
You know, every offensive coordinator now is, and I think agreed. Now every offensive coordinator does. Every play caller does it.
Gruden's made it an art form. Spurrier too. That could have been Barry Sims with a false start.
Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Confirmed.
You know, I think at some point you have to say that this is a problem, and you have to solve the problem. You can't say, well, it's a crowd or on the road, you have a problem with this. At some point, you have a problem, and you just can't have the same guys doing the same thing. You know, we talk about discipline. To me, that's discipline. You know, it's not whether, you know, a guy has a goatee or something, but it's those kinds of things.
3rd down and 6 from the 26-yard line. You know, one of the reasons is we have a fourth down here that the pictures shake as Gannon was his fury, is that they built this stadium with a little flex in it, like the old Mile High. Play clock almost down to 0, and Gannon has to take a timeout. And beaten against the Saints. After the timeout, and Gannon was furious when he went to the sideline. It's 4th down and 6, and there's action again up front. Did Mo Collins create the movement by the Broncos? Let's see.
Charlie Garner jumped in there and was begging for that one, saying that they moved first, and our guy didn't.
Delay a game. Making a movement in the line to make the offense false start. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Years ago that if you move to make the offense move, then it's against you.
During after the timeout, he goes over, and I mean there is fury, and it's mainly directed at Mark, the offensive coordinator.
I think it was all directed at Mark Trestman. I think I was reading his lips and said, "What are you doing?"
Now 4th and 1. Wheatley, and he is able to put the shoulder down and get across the line for a first down.
Frustration.
And it's been frustrating since the end of January from the 20-yard line. Gannon hits Wheatley over the middle. He's inside the 10, and Wilson finally knocks him down along with Nick Ferguson inside the 5. It's a 15-yard gain. Penetration for Oakland tonight. Zach Crockett is the back. Crockett gets it, and Crockett is able to bang his way to the goal line and in. Touchdown. Late call, head linesman came in to give him the 6.
And Zach Crockett is one of the best in football on goal line. I mean, he just there's some guys that just have when they get down there. You're going to get hit, but then you have to be able to go off one hit and find a soft spot in it. Now watch Zach Crockett. He starts there, backs there, finds a soft spot, spins into it, and then takes one more hit to get him in the end zone. But anyone that is a good goal line runner always has a feel for soft spots.
He's the short yardage man, and that's his first carry of the night. The guy they put in goal line, and Janikowski, to put it through. So they're still breathing. Denver 31, Oakland 7. At the Super Bowl. Hear from Lisa shortly. We should get a chance to talk with him, get the update on where he is in his fairly troubled life, obviously. And again, he's on the inactive list for the 3rd time. This, among other things, still recuperating from knee surgery. To kick off. And it's Cole Downing into the end zone there. And Lisa, what did you find out in talking with Barrett Robbins?
Well, I talked to him at length the other day, and he said he's been trying to get his life back together since the Super Bowl. He spent 30 days at the Betty Ford Clinic, and he's also spent 5 months in pretty severe depression. He suffers from both alcoholism and bipolar disorder. He says that since his return, his teammates have been 100% behind him, but it's still very difficult for him every day as he battles alcoholism. He's been clean and sober for 8 months and 15 days.
Well, we wish him well in his recovery. It's tough. He's with the team on the road. The flag comes in as Mike Anderson gains a yard. John, as a coach, you know, what do you think? What are your priorities in a situation like the Barrett Robbins situation?
You know, with that, when it's a Super Bowl and miss a Super Bowl, that's the biggest game in your life, and you have that in one hand. Then in the other hand, you have to say, are we talking about a disease here? And if we are, you have to have sensitivity towards that. So one party is saying, I'm sensitive towards the problem he has, and then on the other side is, man, you let us down in the biggest game of our lives.
And what about the reality? I mean, he's a Pro Bowl guy. Do you give him a longer leash or more rope than you would for a sub?
I'll tell you what, if he'll play, he'll get a long rope, and that's a rule in all pro sports. And it's the same thing they say Janikowski. Janikowski hasn't missed a field goal.
Right.
They're not doing anything to him. But the guy can still play, and I'm not being holier now or being hypocritical, because I would have done the same thing. But if a guy can still play, you're going to find a reason and an excuse to play him.
Well, you look at, Bill Romanowski had that situation in camp a couple of weeks ago where he went Marcus Williams. It was described as a fight, but Lee Collegian, the agent for Williams, described it as an attack. Williams is on injured reserve. He still has a broken orbital bone, a chipped tooth, and is considering legal action against Romanowski. And here's Anderson speaking about the difference between one guy and another. Romanowski's punishment was 1 day out of practice.
Yeah, so you talk about some things you don't own, and you don't say that's right and that's good, but now you get to the point after you don't condone it. Now what are you going to do about it? And that's the thing. I mean, do you say because you did that you can't play anymore and you lose a player? Do you say you can't play for a week or two, or do you say you can't practice for a day, but we need you for this game? And to be honest, again, coaches, if a guy is healthy and he can help him win, is going to play that player.
In every sport. 3rd down and 7 from the 29. Plummer. Ooh, speaking of Romanowski, and of course Romo was a big crowd favorite here, and now wearing the silver and black, the booze cascade.
Yeah, but you know what Jake Plummer did running, so they have to be early. They got out of position, and now they said we've had enough of that. And when Romanowski gets you, they've been chasing Jake Plummer all night, and they haven't gotten him. And when you finally get him, you're going to on him. I mean, part of that is good, hard football. Another part of it is this Raider defense has also been frustrated tonight.
Mike Ganor to punt. Buchanan back deep. That was, by the way, the first time that Plummer has been sacked this season. Almost 2 3/4 games. And that's Buchanan running it back to the 38-yard line penalty flag.
So we're talking about, how is Jake Plummer to react to protection like that? You don't get sacked. You don't worry about it until that hit there by Bill Romanowski.
Off week or during the week item in the NFL this year, Shanahan was not fined for it. You can lie during the game, but not before or after it. Booming kick. Fielded at the 21. Buchanan, 4 blue shirts, and tackled to the 28-yard line. 61-yard kick. 2:27 left in the 3rd. The Broncos in front, 31-7. Log on, custom video highlights on NFL.com. 1st and 10. Justin Fargas meets Al Wilson.
Al Wilson got hit the way you're supposed to hit him. He read that thing perfectly. You know what the Broncos do? They play him a little deeper. They play the 2 outside linebackers up, and then they deeper where he can read everything, and he reads this one perfectly. You see, he's deeper. See, these guys are up a little closer. Here's Al Wilson right here, and watch him read this play and meet it coming upfield. We talk about how running backs go, and you make one cut and run upfield or downfield. Al Wilson does the same thing as the middle linebacker.
2nd and 10. Crockett loses his helmet. Just to clean up the Romanowski situation before we talk about the Denver defense, he was also fined an undisclosed amount. We were talking about the fact he'd missed practice. And there is Romo, who made that play on Plummer. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, that Denver defense tonight, John, cannot be overlooked.
And they're playing as well as I can remember them playing in the last 3 years, the last 4 years. And, a big part of it, we just saw Al Wilson, the play that he made. He's a big part of it. There's their defensive coordinator, Larry Coyer, and he wanted to compete. He wanted to attack. And I'll tell you, this Denver Bronco defense has done that tonight.
3rd and 7. And Gannon trips over his own man, Brad Badger. Got tangled up with a lineman, and Gannon trips and falls, and they'll punt again.
We're talking about the Denver Bronco defense and what they've done. Last year when they played, remember they were rushing 2 men, they were rushing 3 men, they were dropping 8, they were dropping 9. Tonight they've been going 4 men all the time. That's the 4th sack of Rich Gannon.
Completely different plan, and they have a different plan because when somebody completes 21 in a row, you should throw out that playbook forever. Leckler's punt, fielded at the 11-yard line by Delta O'Neal. Good open field tackle by Travian Smith. 25 seconds left in the 3rd.
You know, and one of the things that they're doing, and as a result, they all know each other better and feel each other better.
Here's Anderson. I just wonder if he leaves the tip. Here's Lisa.
Well, you guys are absolutely right, John. I talked to Al Wilson, and he said the reason he wanted to sponsor these dinners is to promote chemistry and foster communication throughout the defense. Clearly, it's been working. He says that he does take quite a hit to his wallet, however. $2,000 every Thursday night, and he has not taken the guys out to McDonald's, I can tell you that.
Sounds like our man Fred Godelli taking us to dinner on Saturday night. Thank you, Freddie. End of 3. 31-7 Denver. Back after this from our ABC station. Broncos lead 31-7. They've led all the way. They have it 2nd and 5 at the 31-yard line. Mike Anderson. Gain of 4 after the game. Your late local news to follow. ESPN has Sports Center as well. Lesco Field at Mile High.
Now, where's that shot from? Is that a blimp or an airplane?
I believe that's a plane. That would be correct, says Drew Esikoff, our director, who I assume would know. That, in fact, is Jake the Snake.
And Jake the Snake has had a heck of a game tonight. You know, he's played well physically, but he's also played well mentally. He's played a smart game.
3rd and a deuce. Anderson cannot chug his way up to the yellow line. He's tackled there by Napoleon Harris, and it's 4th down.
You know,
Buchanan at the 24. Around the corner he comes, and he almost breaks free, and he's down the sideline, and he will finally be forced out of bounds inside the 25-yard line.
I think Philip Buchanan has made more big plays running up that left sideline in 2 years than anyone has in 10 years.
So he taunts the crowd and he gets a beer shower.
But remember last year he made one going right up this left sideline. It was a touchdown. He made a touchdown last week against the Bengals on a pass interception. He knows how to get up that sideline, use the sideline against the defenders.
Then he unbuckles the chin strap, goes to work on the crowd. Take a look at this. He's only played 8 NFL games, or coming into tonight 8. Hugh McElwain, the only other guy with 3 touchdowns of 80 or more yards. You, of course, the king and a Hall of Famer. From the 21, Gannon for Brown, and Brown is completely blanketed by Lenny Walls. And let's get down to Lisa again.
Hey, Al, if Philip Buchanan's nickname sounds familiar, should. Showtime was given his nickname by primetime Deion Sanders. They both grew up in Fort Myers, Florida, and Deion has become kind of his guidance counselor and sounding board and also fashion consultant, they both tell me. They talk twice a week on the phone. Deion even helps him break down game films every single week.
A Seminole helping a Hurricane. 2nd and 10. There can be peace in the world. Gannon under pressure. Flag down, and it's going to be grounding. Gold forced that issue.
Remember, it was last year they used Ian Gold in the 3-man line. They started using him as a rusher.
On number 12, it's a spot foul since it's more than 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage and lost it down. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, you can just tell the frustration in the Raiders and the frustration in. Here's Ian Gold out here. You can see the frustration in Rich. I mean, He doesn't have anything. He's getting rushed. He just throws it away. He knows that's illegal. I mean, he knows there was no one there. He knows that he wasn't outside the tackle box, and he just kind of said, the heck with it.
Gannon to Brown, and so Tim Brown is able to get off the Schneid. 47 minutes into the game, he makes his first catch.
When you're down 31-7, being on or off the Schneid doesn't make a whole heck of a difference. I felt the same thing about Philip Buchanan. You know, when you're a defensive player and the team has scored 31 points on you, I don't think you should have a right to either taunt and or celebrate.
Absolutely.
I think you ought to kind of keep that to yourself and wait for another day.
I mean, you talk about losing perspective. 41-yard attempt by Janikowski. And that makes it a 21-point game with 12:26 remaining. So Buchanan sets up the tray. 31-10. They'd be 3-0. Kansas City would be 3-0 as well. And the Raiders will have dug an early hole at 1-2. The Chargers last at 0-3 in the AFC West. Janikowski's kickoff taken at the 5-yard line. Chris Cole straight up the middle. Tackled at the 29-yard line. 12:22 as the Denver Broncos take over. Fourth quarter. 31-10. Broncos.
The Ford Expedition. Yeah, it's got amazing maneuverability on and off-road. But with exclusive power-fold third-row seating, you should see how it handles your life. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
A rocker will become
Get a job. This is your substitute?
a teacher.
I've got a hangover. Who knows what that means?
Doesn't that mean you're drunk?
No, it means I was drunk yesterday.
And star
I'm El Capitano. We're gonna have recess all the time.
a revolution.
You gotta get mad at the man. And right now I'm the man.
You're tacky and I hate you.
All right.
Jack Black.
When's lunch?
The School of Rock.
You're the man. Thank you, Frankie.
Rated PG-13. Sneak preview Saturday and Sunday. Check local listings.
When you care about your car, you want to keep it protected. No one understands that like your State Farm agent.
We live where you live.
That's why more people insure their cars with State Farm than anyone else, because we care about you the way you care about your car.
Threat Matrix, the new drama that's being called suspenseful, attention-grabbing. This Thursday and every Thursday at 8/7 Central on ABC.
The practice premieres this Sunday after the season premiere of Alias. Chris O'Donnell will be guest starring this week on The Practice, which comes your way at 10 Eastern and Pacific and 9 Central Time right here on ABC. Crushing the Raiders. Well, it's something they have done with regularity in recent seasons until last season, when the Raiders won the season series, winning both games. And that is a Plummer pass that is picked off by Terrence Shaw, but he was out of bounds. He was on the chalk. Boy, that would have been a pretty big play.
As you say, that ball was thrown. Terrence Shaw makes a heck of a catch, but he can't get both feet in. The right foot is in. He has the ball. He has control. Right foot comes down, and the left foot is out.
Pretty interesting call, John. I mean, anything is going to get Oakland back into the game, it would be a play like that right there.
Well, you know that Gary Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Shanahan, the head coach, are very aggressive play callers. They don't stop.
As proven here again, thrown over the middle, and it's caught by Mike Anderson. A lot of penalties tonight for Oakland, so let's go back, and there's no play here. Most yards penalized first 3 games of the season. Tom Flores, 312 and 82. Hand 325. this year. John Gruden in '98, 327. And the Raider record, most yards penalized first 3 games of the season. My man, this is, yeah. I'm screwing up the artwork here.
What do we get? 388?
388.
I wasn't bad. We were working on 500.
Yep.
And there's a couple that the officials didn't see. So we got away with a couple. We're really trying to get 500 mark that year.
That was, those were the first 3 games of your career.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Mike Anderson is the injured Bronco right now. So Steve Antonopoulos, the trainer.
Mike Anderson on that tackle, he got bent in ways that your body doesn't go. Watch it here now as he's going down. You see that right leg is underneath and back. Left leg over it.
So Anderson comes off. Portis has already been limited to action only in the first half. And Quentin Griffin makes his NFL debut, a highly heralded, despite being a 4th-round pick rookie out of Oklahoma. Missed camp with a knee injury. And he makes his NFL debut right here. 3rd down and 4. And Plummer gets sacked.
You see what Romanowski did to Quentin Griffin? It was a play. His first play as an NFL player, and he runs out and he's looking back. And he's not throwing to him, or Romanowski just decks him.
So the Broncos 3 and out quickly.
Watch him. This is just kind of welcome to the NFL. We get him, and he's going to go out there. Romanowski just has him to the outside and just knocks him down.
Or to punt. Buchanan back. Flag down because Knorr is down. And Buchanan will be run out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. But Travian Smith, trying to block the punt, went in to the kicker. Now it's 4th down and 7. So if it's running into the kicker, it's still 4th down. If it's roughing the kicker, 1st down.
Right, and there is one other penalty flag down too. I think there's one back there for the roughing. And as you say, if it's a running in, it's a 5-yard, and it won't be a 1st down. But there is another penalty flag on the other side.
One clearly involves Knorr. The other one's up at the 35-yard line.
And I think it would have to be running in because that didn't look like roughing at all.
Receiver downfield. On number 32, we have personal foul, roughing the kicker on 56. Those penalties off will replay 4th down.
Yeah, you see, once the ball leaves, you can't touch the punter. Now, if Travian Smith touched him, he barely touches him.
He breathed on him.
Yeah, so that can't be the 15-yard variety. I think if he touched him, if he did anything, I think he stepped on his right toe.
Yeah. It should be about a 2-yard variety.
I don't see any contact there at all. Those kickers always do leave a little up in the air, though. You know, they leave that leg up there a little longer. They leave that plant foot up in the air after they kick it, trying to get that penalty.
Back once we started on 4th and 7 now from the 32. And this time they block it. And it's picked up and taken down to the 10-yard line. O.J. Santiago was the man who blocked it. Eric Johnson takes it to the 10-yard line. And so the Raiders, given up for dead at 31-0, are now down by 21. And the exultant Bob Casulo, the special teams coach, and all of a sudden they get into the end zone here, and it's a 2-touchdown game.
You see, O.J. Santiago lines up over the guard, and he's going to come right up the middle. Here he is right here, and you want to get the pressure, get to that point right there. And that's exactly what Santiago does. He pushes, they block out, he runs right over the back to block that punt.
It's a little like the Super Bowl when the Raiders were totally out of it and only had a little bit of life left in the late 3rd quarter, early 4th because of a blocked punt. From the 10, All of a sudden, the crowd back into it, and Rice is going to throw, and it's off Brown's hands. Incomplete.
Oh, and he had him wide open. He just held that a beat or two too long because Tim Brown was wide open about a step or two before Jerry Rice threw. But again, you have a guy handling the ball, a guy coming on a reverse. You have a different type of handoff. You have someone throwing who's not used to it. But watch Tim Brown back there. He is wide open now. By the time the ball gets out, I don't know that Tim Brown shouldn't have caught that anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a heck of a pass for Jerry Rice.
Rice going in the 10th pass of his career. He's 3 for 10. One was a touchdown. On 2nd and goal, Gannon sidearms it and is lucky it's not picked off. Monsanto Pope may have been the guy to get a hand on it.
You know, if that play works, if that's Jerry Rice and he makes that completion, it's a great play. But if not, you wonder again, why do you need gadgets when you get a change of momentum? Remember, last time they had that, they get a first down and then they try and run that option thing. Then they run a reverse pass when, you know, maybe they don't have confidence in their basic real football.
It was Trevor Price to knock it down. It's 3rd down and from the 10-yard line. And Gannon too high, intended for the tight end Jolly, covered by Nick Ferguson. And now with 10:38 to go, they're compelled to go for it. 4th and goal. Jolly trying to get an interference call or a holding call.
You know, this is what happens. I mean, this Denver Bronco offense has been putting a big push on Rich Gannon all night. You know, and they have the speed that we talked about. And when you don't get a running game going like the Raiders, then you can't do play. Then you can't, bootleg. Then you can't do those things. You just have to drop back pass, and they're coming after you every time.
Raiders with a golden chance to get back into it, but it's 4th down now, 4th and goal. And Gannon turns the shoulders, fires to the end zone. Rice can't hold it. A little high and maybe partially deflected, and so they have 1st and goal at the 10 and gain nary a yard. 10:30 left in regulation, still 31-10 Broncos. The game, they had him out earlier with the chest bruise, residual from last week, but with Anderson now out, they give it to Portis, and he goes nowhere. Pushed back by Romanowski. Back to the 4th down play, and you'll see that Walls barely grazes it.
Yeah, and look at the throw that Rich Gannon makes. So Trevor Price is rushing him, so he has to throw that ball sidearm. Lenny Walls is a 6'4" corner. He gets up and jumps the ball. Watch it comes out here. In fact, that's what you can do when you're 6'4". You can get up that high, and that was just enough to take enough off that ball that it wasn't a completion.
Minuscule change of direction, but as you say, John, just enough. And a big play, obviously, as Portis is taken down at the 9-yard line. 3rd and long. Let's check in with Lisa again.
Al, word from the Broncos bench is that Mike Anderson has a twisted right knee. His return is questionable. He was, of course, the Rookie of the Year in the year 2000, so he is still very important to this offense.
Mike Anderson had that 1,000-yard season in relief of the then-injured Terrell Davis, and then they made him a fullback, and he's trying to walk it off right now, and that's why Portis is back in the game.
I don't think that Mike Shanahan wanted to put Clinton Portis back in this game, but when it looked like the Raiders might get back in it, I think that kind of changed his mind.
And now on 3rd and 11, they put Quentin Griffin in the game. Again, the rookie from Oklahoma making his NFL debut, and his first carry is this carry. And he gets popped by Rod Woodson. 4th down. Mike Ganor comes in to punt.
Rod Woodson, that 75th anniversary team, he made that as one of the all-time players as a corner. And then he was moved from corner to safety, and when they have that 100th year team, he may make it as a safety.
Yeah. Exclusively with Pittsburgh to that point. Then he went to the 49ers for a year. And the Raiders. And Baltimore in between as well. And on 4th down, Knorr sends it to the 35-yard line where Philip Buchanan gets whacked at the 39-yard line. That tackle made by Willie Middlebrooks.
He didn't even see Willie Middlebrooks, though, did he? Watch him. He's looking someplace else, looking upfield, and he didn't know what was right there.
From Never Never Land. .8:12 to go as Rich Gannon goes to work again, down by 3 touchdowns, and Ian Gold breaks up the pass intended for Doug Jolly.
You know, you wonder where the Raiders go from here. You know, last night we were talking to Rich Gannon. He was saying that we haven't established an identity. He said, you know, we don't know who the team is or what this team is, and I think after tonight they still haven't established an identity.
Not an identity they're prepared to live with. 2nd down and 10 at the 38. Jolly. Al Wilson comes in to finish him off after Gold made the initial hit, and Herndon was there as well.
You know, we're talking about Al Wilson and every Thursday night taking those guys out for dinner. You know, that's not just like the linemen or the linebackers. That's the entire defense. So we're talking like 25 guys. So I think 25 guys for $2,000. That's not bad, is it?
Even the inactives. Yeah. 3rd down and 8. And Gannon gets sacked, rolled down by Reggie Hayward. That's the 5th sack of Gannon tonight, and Hayward has a couple. 2.5, in fact, for him.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing all night. They've been running those line stunts where they cross the guy. Watch his. Here's Price here. Price is going to go to the inside. Hayward comes to the outside. So they just cross those two defensive linemen. You see it, here he comes. He comes on inside, right up the middle.
And the Raiders line up the kick with a little bit more than 7 minutes to go and down by 21. Forced to punt. Leckler's punt takes a Bronco bounce. And Curry covers it at the 9-yard line. 7 minutes exactly remaining in regulation as the Broncos try to go to 3-0. On top 31-10 over the Oakland Raiders. The offense has done its job. TB over there held the 1 catch. Now Plummer goes to work and probably on the clock with 7 minutes to go, and they give the ball off to Quentin Griffin. John, it's amazing. They just keep coming up with running backs. I mean, Paul Davis, a 6th-round pick, and he was a major star, and that career was ended prematurely. And then they find Olandis Gary, they find Mike Anderson, now Clinton Portis comes out of nowhere, and they love this kid as well. I don't know what they do with him though.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a spot guy. I mean, as long as Clinton Portis is here and Clinton Portis is healthy, he's going to be the tailback. Anything that Griffin does is going to be a backup, a spot, a 3rd down type of guy, that kind of back. He's not going to beat out Clinton Portis.
2nd down and 6, 34-yard line. Terrence Shaw takes down his opposite number, Quentin Griffin.
And you look at the score, 31-10, and you wonder how did it all get started. To me, this is what started it all. Clinton Portis and his running. I mean, he started early, and then the Raider defense showed that they couldn't get to him, and then their quickness was exposed. They were missing, and then they started really zeroing in on Portis. And then Jake Plummer was able to do the play-action passes and the bootlegs. But it all started with this guy right here.
2nd-round pick out of Miami, passed over until the 2nd round. 3rd and 5. Screen is set up. Griffin. And the former Sooner is out past the 40 to the 41-yard line. 1st down. Well, the Sooners, #1, coming off their win over UCLA the other day. And here's 108th pick. 41 starts in Norman. Very impressive totals. And of course, when you play at Oklahoma and you're up near the top of any list, you're a star. It was the first catch of his career. Broke his fibula, did Griffin, on the first day of training camp. So that's why he's making his debut tonight. Some 2 months later.
You know, and the interesting thing about breaking a fibula, same thing that Mike Vick did. So you say, when is Mike Vick going
Prior
to be
to the
back?
snap, false start on the offense on number 50. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
We were talking to Mike Shanahan about that, and he said it's taken Griffin about 9 weeks. He said the first 4 weeks he couldn't do anything, and then it took 4 weeks to get back into football shape. So I don't know where Mike Vick is compared to Griffin, but they did have the same injury.
Atlanta losing yesterday to Tampa Bay. We're going to see them in 3 weeks against the Rams on a Monday night. Will Vick be back is the question. Griffin to the 38. Later on next month, we're going to have the Chiefs at Oakland. And how about the Kansas City Chiefs? And what about Priest Holmes? Hip injury last year. Some question whether he'd ever be able to return. And here he was yesterday. 4 receptions on the day. Priest has gotten off to a brilliant start this season. And the Chiefs win the game over the Texans 42-14. And Dick Vermeil has that ball club rolling. 2nd and 13 from the 38-yard line. Griffin to the 48.
You know, it was interesting. This preseason, I went to a training camp, and it was a Kansas City Chiefs training camp, and they were practicing against the Minnesota Vikings. And, you know, you're watching both teams, and you say, how are they? And I remember Dick Vermeil, we were having lunch, and he was saying, you know, he said, I think we're going to win it this year. He said, I think, you know, it's my 3rd year, and 3rd year good things happen to me. I think we're going to do it. Then in the same practice, I'm talking to Randy Moss on the sideline, and he said, you know, we're going to be good this year. He said, we aren't on Monday night. Maybe we don't deserve to be because of last year. He said, but we are going to be not only in the playoffs, he said, we're going to win in the playoffs. So I'm just thinking, here's 2 guys that I probably should have listened to because they're both undefeated.
You know, now did Mike Holmgren call you that same day as well?
Hey, I swear, because you're going to think I'm making this one up.
On the defense, number 54.
You're going to think I'm making this, but I swear this is true. I'm in a bakery in Carmel, California. I'm sitting there, not bothering anyone. I'm having a cup of coffee. In walks Mike Holmgren. I look, there's Mike Holmgren. I swear. And he came over and sat down with a cup of coffee, and he said that they're going to be. I swear, I'm not making this stuff up. This is like in June. Now this is before I go to Kansas City, Minnesota. Now you know, I talk to everyone, and they all tell me they're going to win, and now they are. But I did. I mean, you know, you bring up Seattle, and I bring up that thought.
When a trainer with a horse in the 4th race at Santa Anita in November calls you, you'll call me right away?
I don't have any more.
Okay.
So, but I mean, you'd have to say it's coincidence, but I was thinking about that as you're talking about Kansas City. That when guys tell you that, you know, because everyone is going to pick someone.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, all writers are going to pick someone, and maybe you get them all confused and say, I don't listen to anyone. But when the coach and the top player tells you, maybe you ought to listen to them.
Yeah. So far, perfect for all 3 teams.
I know it sounds phony. I know it does.
2nd and 6. And the ball is loose. He tried to get it to Griffin. And the Raiders with 1 mini gasp at altitude left as they come up with the recovery. 36-yard line. So the Broncos on their way to running out the clock, and then all of a sudden the rookie tries to take the handoff and can't.
You know, you look at this score and think that the Raiders haven't had opportunities. The Raiders have had opportunities, especially in the second half. I mean, this Bronco offense was very good in the first half, and then the last 4 or 5 series, they just kind of looked like they throttled everything down a little.
No question. And Plummer that time tripped. That was actually on him and not on Griffin. And Marcus Tuiasosopo, who did all last year and is their number 2 quarterback, is going to get some game action here. And the son of former NFL Mono Tuiasosopo hits Ronald Curry up at the 50-yard line. Marcus Tuiasosopo picked in 2001 in the 2nd round. 3rd year out of the University of Washington.
It was interesting talking to Bill Callahan about him last night. He said, you know, how can you be sure if the guy's really going to be your next quarterback until he plays?
So he's going to take a now, and he throws that into traffic, and it's batted and incomplete at the 2-minute warning, which comes with 1:58 officially remaining. And the Denver Broncos on the cusp of going to 3-0. On top 31-10.
This is Ed McCaffrey of the Denver Broncos. Ed helps the United Way build stronger communities by supporting programs that provide meals for families. Ed is an overachiever. He's also good under pressure.
Shirley.
Busted.
Vince Lombardi, Dick Butkus, Bart Starr, Mike Singletary, Brett Favre, Brian Urlacher, and the Packers versus the Bears on Monday Night Football. Oh, man, this is gonna be good.
Packers, Bears, next Monday night on ABC.
Everyone comes to play on Monday night.
Coming up next, stay tuned for the Autotrader.com postgame show. Take a look at this. Quarterbacks with new teams winning their first 3 starts with each. 30 or more points in each game. You have to go back to Jim Plunkett, who had been, of course, with New England out of Stanford. Then he goes to the Raiders in '80, and he did it. And now Jake Plummer, who doesn't look like a guy who's on his way to going 3-0 with 30 or more points. Angry at something here, but on his way to a perfect start with Pat McPherson, the quarterback's coach, right there.
You know, I think he's pretty happy with his start, and he's not happy with his second half. That, you know, they've had, like, 4 3-and-outs, and they couldn't get anything going, and then, he trips on that handoff. And, when you're closing in on perfect, you don't want to finish up tripping.
Our Minister of Information, Steve Hurt, reminds me that in '80, Plunkett's Raiders won the Super Bowl over Dick Vermeil's Philadelphia Eagles. Vermeil now came down to go to his Super Bowl with a 3rd different team, as the pass is caught here by Alvis Whitted on a slant. First down, no huddle, 35-yard line. Tuiasosopo threw 4 passes in his rookie year and no passes last year. Guns it, caught, nice looking throw, caught by Doug Gabriel, rookie out of Central Florida, inside the 20.
Now the Broncos have to get a little of that intensity back to finish this game off. One of the things that they did is with his defensive line, they've been rolling these guys the whole game, and the theory of that is you keep them fresh for the 4th quarter.
And Tuiasosopo will step out of bounds with nobody open to stop the clock with 66 seconds remaining. Pass rating, let's take a look at that. Again, we've been discussing it through preseason, during the regular season. That's Gannon, his number, very mediocre before he got to the Raiders. For his first 12 years, there are his Raider numbers since joining Oakland in 1999. And then last year, 11-11-02, November 11th, when they turned their season around, that was his night, 131.6. And look at him tonight. He's like a D, minus at 63.7.
He's gone down below where he started.
2nd and 9 from the 19, and that is intercepted in the end zone by Kelly Herndon.
Well, we're talking about this Denver defense having a great night and having to finish it off and getting worn down and not finishing off. They just finished it off right here. Here's the interception right here. And we see Herndon, he's in command, but he knows he has deep help. So he plays underneath. So instead of playing out, he knows he has the safety behind him, although that safety's not helping him a lot. So he can play underneath a little, and he can undercut this thing.
So Herndon looking to the heavens. Amazingly, Oakland getting a thrashing tonight, has turned the ball over only that one time. And a couple of kneel it. John, I look at Gannon on the sideline there. He's still wearing his helmet. He knows he's not coming in kind of reminded me of when Steve Young was at San Francisco in '94 and they got ripped by Philadelphia 40-8, and he was so angry that Seifert took him out of the game. He was angry with himself. He was angry with the world. He kept his helmet on the sideline, and of course the bottom line was they went on to win the Super Bowl and he was the MVP.
And I think that all those things that you said Steve Young was, I think Rich Gannon is tonight.
And the Broncos, barring penalty flags, and the Raiders have already been assessed 13 times for 98 yards. Will they hit the century mark here?
I want to see a picture of a warrior and a lost cause. It's Rod Woodson down here. I mean, he surgery 13 days ago. Played like heck, and he has emptied his tank.
False start, offense, start penalty.
And he's so tired now he can't even talk. He was just bent over there a minute ago, trying to. Anytime you need some oxygen, you always bend over so you can get closer to the grass, because there's oxygen in grass, I think.
And at 5,280 feet, it's a deep pit. And this is going to do it. Jake Plummer has come to town, made his home debut. Sparkling night for Mike Shanahan. There is no tastier meal than one like this. For Gannon, a very frustrating night, a very frustrating beginning to the season, as the Broncos, along with the Chiefs, go to 3-0. The Raiders go to 1-2. The Raiders all of a sudden have a very important game next week against San Diego to try to turn it around. Denver gets Detroit in here. The AutoTrader.com post-game show coming your way next.